So I am going to get my recording going in the meantime.
I am just finishing out my sneezing, my pre-show sneezing.
Hello, YouTube.
Hello, YouTube. Oh, the lineup would be good.
Line-as them up.
Diego, line-as them up. Just going through my game recap notes here and trying to move on from my sneezing.
Oof. Thank you for joining us. F Mexico.
What's up, fools? F Mexico.
We're just getting ready. We're just getting ready to go. Here.
We're just getting it going here, guys. There has to be some amount of the flow of content has to stop, at least temporarily, at some point in this process, in order for us to give you this
in the Turnerverse.
This clean. Yeah, we are not all Matt Turner. So I'm just going over my notes right now.
So according to Twitter, the top trending topic is Pulisic because we won without Pulisic.
That's so bizarre.
Doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, so after the half, Sands looked rough as hell, but Pineda also looked rough as hell.
Wow.
Dude, and there was okay, we'll get into it. But your shouts for Robinson as man of the tournament is looking stronger and stronger as I go through these notes.
Every minute, one goal conceded.
It was a penalty that he did not give up.
A penalty that he did not give up in the entire tournament.
Yeah, and do you remember in the 70th of this game when Robinson dribbled the entire team, dished it out to Nips?
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Okay. Just need like two. I just need like 2 more minutes. I'm also recording 1 more minute, maybe. That's out on the 90th, and then
Cameron, I think while Miles Robinson has a good player of the tournament argument, I think Cameron might have it for being present at the group stage games. I think they gave the team the boost they needed.
You mean Cameron Corwin?
Yeah, correct.
Yes. Okay, good. Well,
just to be clear.
I mean, a lot of people think Alexander for defending Acosta throughout this tournament.
Well, Alexander was the MVP of the Nations League because he was at both the Nations League games. But
was the Acosta Olympico, was that in extra time?
That was in extra time, correct.
So that was the first thing that's like the first thing that happened in extra time. Okay. All right. Let's do this thing. Let's do snaps in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're just not going to do it?
Oh, sorry. I wasn't paying attention. Sorry.
Yeah, what the fuck, dog?
Bad. I'm on YouTube right now. Okay.
All right. Snaps again in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's close enough. It's close enough. We'll take it. All right. Here we go.
I did it on the one.
Did it on the one.
Extra time gave me extra wine time.
We are starting at 12:06 in 5, 4, 3, 2. Well, hello, folks, and welcome to We the Motherfucking Peeps. This is the American Soccer Podcast, in which you are going to get to know everything that you wish you knew from the jump, motherfucker, about the USMNT. I am Clayton, and I'm an artist.
I'm Ty, I'm an entrepreneur.
And we love the Nats. And we might have to put an explicit tag on our show from now on, because I just cursed a lot in the beginning of this show, which I avoid doing normally, but we just beat Mexico in the final with our C team. So go to bed, children, because we have to discuss. Insert here. Guys, in the YouTube chat, if you can hit us with some fact checking during this show, that is helpful. Okay, we cannot answer questions during the show, but if you can hit us with those fact checks, research on anything that comes up that we're talking about, if you can just do some Googling, find out some things that we didn't know, shit like that.
Tell us what you think also. I'll steal your ideas and claim them as my own.
Right. But I'm just trying to, I do want to differentiate between what it's like during the stream. We're not able to converse with you, but if you are able to sort of, do stuff like that, like the research and the fact checks, will shout you out, and that is actually incredibly helpful.
And if you do have any questions, we will take some time after the episode.
Stay on after the episode proper, and we'll hang out for as long as you will, and we'll answer any questions that you have. All right, guys? Okay. Let's fucking do this thing.
LFG boys. Oh my God.
End insert. This game was USA versus Mexico. In the final, who? Oh.
Final?
I think I said Mexico. In the final.
Mexico?
Yes, indeed. El Tri, if you will.
El Tri.
Of the Gold Cup, son. The Copa de Oro. The USA would win this game. 1-0. It would go to extra time. There is very much to discuss. My heart bleeds for the USMNT. I am burping from this Modelo that I am proudly drinking in victory.
In conquest.
In conquest. We have done it, folks. We have defeated Mexico in 2 finals. Not one, but 2 finals in 1 summer. I want to start talking about this as soon as possible, but first, please, some housekeeping real quick. Hit us up on Twitter at WTP Pod. You got to do that. You have to do that, because that's where you find out all the stuff that we're doing. whether that's streaming live during the shows or just our thoughts during the club game, which is about to kick off again. Once this tournament ends, there will not be U.S. games for a few weeks, and I want you to know that you can stay with us and you can stay supporting the Nats by following us on Twitter at WTP Pod. Do that. Keep in mind as well that this show is not free for us to produce. We spend a lot of time. We spend literal dollars of our own money to make this happen, and we love it, and we're very passionate about it, and we will do it no matter what. But if you can help us stem the bleeding, that will be very helpful. So please go to patreon.com/WTP pod to support this show financially. That is incredibly impactful for our lives. And we believe that by supporting us on the Patreon, as many of you have already chosen to do, you are having an impact on American soccer culture at large, which is how we see incredible victories like the one that we have just witnessed. Your actions matter. Take part. We are on YouTube. Search us up, We the Peeps. Find us on there. We stream live. We streamed live during this entire game, during this entire tournament. We streamed this entire thing, our reactions, and many of you were with us for that. And we are so grateful to those of you who went along with us on this journey. This was really our first competition where we leaned in on the live streams. And Ty, what do you think?
Dude,
how'd it go?
Fantastic.
Pretty awesome.
Fantastic.
It's pretty awesome.
I love watching the games with you, with the peeps. Get the chat going. I have so much fun. Sometimes I miss things in the game. I need to fix that. I need to somehow.
We will work on that. There are many aspects of this whole thing that we are working on.
I'm usually like an obsessive note taker as well, but I just get so caught up in having fun.
It's so much fun, guys. Hang out with us on YouTube. And you can also experience the shows live as we record. And they are sometimes rougher than you might expect. So be with us in this. We are all fans together in this. We earned this together. We did this. Last thing, please tell one person that you know that the USMNT has just defeated Mexico in 2 finals in a row, and this team is about to go into World Cup qualifying, which will build to the most important, I'm sorry, the Olympics, I'm sorry, but to the most loved sporting event in the world, the World Cup. We are almost there for another cycle. Now is the time to tell your friends that you love this team and that you love this show. And if they don't know what's going on with this team, there's one place where they can go, where they will find the answers that they are looking for, and that is We the Peeps. Am I right?
You're right.
Let's do this thing. End of Hauser keeping. Sweep, sweep, sweep. Oh, baby.
Get out there. How many gloves you got?
Let me line up this C team lineup for you. Let me line up these guys that, we didn't think we didn't give them a whole lot of shrift. We gave them the short shrift, as they say. No mas. Matty Two Hands Turner. Matty Two Hands. Shaboy. Been known as Two Hands since he came out the womb. We call him Two Hands because he could catch and he could throw either hand. He's ambidextrous. Matty Two Hands Turner in the goal for life. Welcome to the Turnerverse. On the left, we're going to have George Bello. Surprise, surprise. Little concern there for me. So this is me. Hello. A, under my George Bello. This is me pre-game being like, this is a huge mistake. We're going to have Miles Robinson and Jimmy Sando. I will tweet out the song that I am referencing when I say, because it's Jimmy Sando. And on the right, we're going to have Reggie, the soccer player formerly known as Reggie.
Formerly known.
Canon. The canonical. The one and only. In the 6th, let's have Kellen Acosta. Let's have a dual 8. Sebastian Lletget and Boozy Baby, you're going to get your chance. You're going to get your chance. But we're going to start Eric Williamson in this one. Up front, we're going to have Matthew Happiness is the truth. The truth. The one. There is only one truth. Okay? And it's Matthew Hoppy. We're going to have at the 9, Giassi Zardes. Why? Because DK, maybe picked up an injury, didn't quite show. On the right wing, we are going to have Captain Paulie Areola Nips, straight from Long Island, California. You know him, you love him. It's Paulie Areola Nips.
Suffolk County, California.
From the Jersey Shore in California. It's Paulie Areola Nips. Guys, this game, I cannot start this game recap without first mentioning the look on Matthew Hoppy's face pre-whistle. This man was smiling like a sociopath. It was like he had never felt what it means to be alive until this moment. The look in his glassy eyes as he gazed across those Mexican fans whose hearts he was about to break. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. I'll never forget it. To the moon for you, Matthew Hoppy. As far as your career goes, I will never forget the look you had on your face when you started against Mexico for the first time in your life. Incredible. Only legends and sociopaths have that kind of a reaction to a moment like this. 11th minute, George Bello, maybe handball, turned into a corner kick that counted. It was Matty Two Hands Turner's first save of the game. Every time this team plays in the first 20 minutes, Matty Two Hands Turner takes us into the Turnerverse. We would have been one down, but he said no. He said no. We were. So what happened was
the goal was scored.
Matty Two Hands Turner turns back the hands of time in order to give us a second chance here in the 11th minute. 14th minute, Eric Williamson, maybe concussion. Guess not. More on that later. 25th minute.
Hope not.
Sebastian, we hope not. There's a little breakdown on the left side in the 25th minute. Ball bops out to Sebastian Lletget, puts Areola in on goal. Had the whole goal. Areola did.
Oh,
Lletget, I just cannot quite you, Sebastian Lletget. Paul Areola had the whole goal.
What you?
Paul Areola had the entire goal and missed it, as he is wont to do in goal.
His final tradition.
It's a finals tradition, which led us to 20 minutes of halfway decent Mexico chances. 1 second as I pause. Okay, had to clear my nose out.
YouTube only
content. 11th minute, Clayton clears nose. I will edit that out.
That is the edit log. Put it in the edit log.
Which would lead us to 20 minutes of halfway decent Mexico chances. For some reason, given the Matty Two Hands Turner situation, I felt a lot less stressed and sweaty than I normally do in this situation. The U.S. would get to the 43rd minute without conceding a goal. And in fact, it just didn't feel that chaotic. It didn't feel like it was going to happen, to be honest. I was almost afraid to say it at the time. I didn't want to jinx it, but dude, it was just like, I'm all right with what is happening.
Whatever.
We were organized. There were shots.
We
were organized. And Matty's got two hands, dog. 43rd minute, Matthew Hoppy is just a foot away from scoring. It is so close to his moment, but wouldn't be. We'd go into halftime 0-0. 40, as we return from halftime, we would see a bunch of Jimmy Sando, I want to say howlers, but not quite that bad. It was falling apart for Jimmy Sando in the first 10 minutes of the second half. And it was looking like that would be the weak link that would do us in. However, Mexican player Pineda was gifted 2 guilt-edged chances from Jimmy Sando's mental breakdown that occurred. In all seriousness, mental health is a very important issue, and I make no light of that. But Jimmy Sando was losing his fucking mind in the first 10 minutes of the second half.
Wasn't good.
And Pineda saved us by missing twice in a row. Super hard. Should not have happened. The storm would continue for yet another 20 minutes or so, when it started to feel a little different. Things started to change. It started to be chaotic, yes, but equal. The US was right in this, getting a few chances.
Chaotic,
we saw
but
a few chaotic but good. Chaotic good is a thing. We saw the US make a bunch of subs.
Han Solo.
Han Solo, chaotic good. Clayton Fujimura, chaotic good. Let's do this. Shaq Moore would come in for Reggie, who was looking a little gassed, honestly. Schweinsteiger, Sam Vines. I'm trying that one out.
Sam
Schweinsteiger.
Weinsteiger.
Pretty funny, I think, but it doesn't actually make people laugh. It's a thing.
Big Vam
Would come in for George Vam Sciences. Would come in for George Bello. And Christian Roldan would come in for Sebastian Lletget, who was starting to show his age. Okay, guys. 69th minute. Paulie Nips puts on the press and gets Hoppy a chance on goal. Could have passed to Zardes here, but instead chooses to rip one, and he rips it on frame. It would get cleared out for a corner. In the 70th minute, another Hoppy chance. It was looking like Hoppiness would be the truth. This chance came from none other than Miles Robinson, dribbling the entire field and dishing this one out to Paulie Nips, who would pass it over to Hoppy, etc., etc. 72nd, Hector Herrera attempts to assassinate Eric Williams' son. Is it Eric? It's Eric Williams' son with some cleats
Eric
to the
Williamson's
face.
son. Yeah.
It is Eric Williamson's son. Eric Williamson's son's the second, with some cleats to the head. Somehow, not a red.
Somehow.
We don't understand that, but a yellow here. Anderson Silva heel to the face. TKO, yellow card.
If you don't break a bone, it's not a red, apparently. If you play for Mexico.
And then in the 73rd, off of that free kick, there was the traffic coniest of all moments when Giassi Zardes would stumble over himself, a Mexican player, the ball, and all of the Turner verses available. Somehow, this would not go in. We don't know. Quick WTP highlight, Wonder Woman sighted during this corner. Beautiful. Love it. Wonder Woman. You and Donald Wine are in the finals for our only fan in the stands during COVID protocol.
Yes, exactly.
We love it. We love it. Mexico would then
Send
follow
her to
that
the
up.
swimming.
Mexico would then follow that up with a bobbly chance of their own. Oh, and then, okay, real quick, 85th, Giacchini and Busio come in for Areola and Williamson. And this is where I'll break out the Booze Cruise nickname for Luca Busio. Booze Cruise Busio comes in.
Left the
In the
docks.
90th, he left the docks. In the 90th, he'll get his chance. It bopped out to him at the 20-yard line, just about. 18th, maybe. Wide open. Looked like the whole goal was his. He skies it. Too bad. Listen, though, at this point, we're going C team to Mexico's A team into extra motherfucking time. Tata Martino has already been fired. B+ team. At this point, now that we won, it's a D team. All right? I'm degrading this as much as possible.
Yeah.
Tata Martino has already been fired. He's texting Atlanta United to see if he can get his job back. All right, it doesn't matter how this game ends. It's over for Tata at Mexico. 91st minute. Kellen Acosta goes for an Olympico off a corner, and it is not far away, friends. Whoa!
He goes for it twice, right?
He goes for it twice.
First one goes out.
Would that not have been a classic USMNT moment? Not to be Acosta. It's all good. All right. There were a few other chances, but the only thing that matters here is what Miles Robinson would do. In the 1/12th, Miles Robinson somehow clears the ball twice in one play off of a free kick. And that's not because the first clearance was bad. It's because he was everywhere in this game. You remember that Sands was, looking like Sands was falling apart. Robinson cleaned that whole shit up long ago, and in extra time, he just continues to do so. In the 118th, Mexico gets a no call, could have been a foul for them, leads to a counter. Giacchini gets the ball on the left side on an outlet pass, earns a free kick, which he's been doing all tournament. This guy could get a free kick from nothing. He's better than Neymar at it. Makes it look real. Acosta takes the free kick. Perfect curler. Robinson finishes. Miles motherfucking Robinson finishes this. Was it offsides? No. Quick review, not offsides. In the celebration, Miles Robinson attempts to take his shirt off. He's just too swole for that shit, though. Could not get it off in time before his teammates came and embraced him. It was beautiful. This was a USMNT moment in history. We have just won. Just a couple quick WTP highlights, Ty, before I get to your first impressions. Someone threw out a bunch of cash in the audience after the final whistle. We hope this was fake money. There was a bunch of adorable kids celebrating
Vegas, baby.
underneath bills. Incredible. Second WTP highlight is Luca Busio. When he gets the medal, he bites it. No one else was doing that. I loved it. Last thing, Henry Kessler came in for Hoppy in this game. People are going to forget that part. Ty, what was your first impressions? What are your first impressions?
Going into the tournament, I think most US fans had very low expectations, including us. We said, well, you can try to win the tournament or you can try to develop players. And we were frustrated when in the first match, the US came out with a lineup that seemed to emphasize doing well in the tournament over developing players. And the US kind of switched that up in the second and third games. So it seemed like everyone was on that wavelength. And then the team just started winning. The US got a maybe fortunate, tight win over Jamaica, went up against Qatar, found a way to beat a Qatar team that is probably better skill-wise than this USMNT lineup, and finally got into this final where we needed the performance of a lifetime, plus a little bit of luck, plus a poor Mexico performance. And that's exactly what happened. But at this point, when our A team has beaten Mexico in the last 2 months, and our C team has beaten a lot of the same players again in the span of 2 months, you have to say that the US is the best program in CONCACAF at the moment. And that is something that we've expected to happen someday after a long period where it was very much not the case. And suddenly it's here. The growth of this program has accumulated to the point where we can confidently say that the US is the best program in CONCACAF today.
Holy shit. I cannot believe. I did not dare to dream that we would be sitting here celebrating this win. Truly didn't.
No, I didn't even think we would make the final. I honestly thought this was like a quarterfinal exit situation because the rest of CONCACAF has gotten so much better. I thought these upgraded teams like Jamaica and Canada, one of them would find a way to knock this young US team out. And, you know, as far as young teams go, it's one thing to just be the best young players from the country, but they're not. It's like they said on the broadcast that this is the youngest US lineup to ever be in a Gold Cup final, but it wasn't even the coolest options at those age groups. It's unbelievable.
And then it was the youngest lineup, and then it got younger by the end of this.
And it got younger.
And it got younger. What is happening? So is this, Ty, let me ask you, is this a fluke? Did we what happened here?
So it's a bit of a fluke because I think Mexico definitely Mexico had the chances to win the game. They didn't put those chances away. Whether you attribute that to skill or luck is a different question. From the US's perspective, it's definitely luck. We got let off the hook a couple of different times in really big spots where Mexico really should have scored. But luck is when preparation meets opportunity. And this US team was very prepared, had a very clear game plan, did rather well tactically, maintained their shape for a lot of the game before it started to break down, like most US-Mexico finals eventually do, and did everything they possibly could to win. And that's all you can ask for. I don't think even in those moments where James Sands was giving the ball up or anything like that, like I don't fault James Sands for making those mistakes. The US program asked a ton of a young man like that in a tournament like this, asking him to play in, you know, complex positions and formations that require him to move in ways he's maybe not used to, and then putting him into the cauldron of this kind of final with, you know, huge pro Mexico crowd on his back. So
Walker
I
Zimmerman
feel
goes
like
down
the entirety
injured.
of the U.S. team had at least a decent performance in this final, and you know, deserved to win in that regard. That I don't think any of the players really came out without the motivation, the drive, or the preparation to succeed.
So, you know, this group has clearly won our hearts, and they are flawed, they are limited, but they are winners, and they won our hearts. They won my heart prior to this final, but I think they probably won a lot more hearts, you know, now. I think that tomorrow morning, some Americans will hear about this that didn't really know it was happening. And they will not realize.
Our fear going in was that Americans would see this team suck and tune out again because they thought, you know, oh, classic US, can't compete with the rest of even the rest of our region. And I'm loud wrong on this. So I stand very, very pleasantly corrected that this team was actually able to have so much success in this tournament. It's I don't know how to deal with this, to be honest. As a US fan, I've so rarely tasted a unexpected victory.
What is
I don't
happening?
know what to do with myself.
So there are a couple superheroes that have risen out of this. And so let's start with the superest of them all, Miles Robinson. Is there any way to give this guy enough credit?
He didn't put a foot wrong the whole tournament. I don't remember a single moment where he made a substantial error. He was just effective, solid, and as you said, with Sands being so inexperienced and prone to errors throughout the tournament, Robinson just gave that solidity that the team needed. And so for me, undisputedly, the MVP of this team and the MVP of the tournament, not only playing every single minute in a tournament where the US gave up one goal on a penalty.
That he did not
also
give up.
Which he did not give up, but also popping up to score the fucking winner in the final in extra time against Mexico, the most epic moment certainly of Miles Robinson's career so far. And you had felt kind of a couple games in that you were impressed, but you weren't ready to put him into that conversation for you know, maybe a starting spot or to be much higher on the US depth chart.
True.
How do you feel now as a result of the last
he has to be in the conversation. He has got to be in the conversation. And it was, pardon me, 27th minute. Okay. We'll edit that out. He has to be in the conversation. He's got to be there. I was not sold until this final. You're correct. Sometimes it can be difficult with defenders because when it's going well for a defender, you don't notice them. Right. And so you don't really, you know, maybe I missed it. Maybe I didn't see it, but he didn't stand out to me. And maybe that's because the opposition wasn't as strong. Maybe it's because I don't have quite as good an eye for center back decisions as others may. But there is a difference. When you play Mexico, when you play in a final, the stakes are higher, and the ability to hold it down suddenly stands out a lot more, and it means a lot more. And you saw James Sands, maybe he made a couple mistakes a game in the previous games, but he did not look like he was getting outplayed when he was defending. In this game, he was clearly getting outplayed as a defender, straight up. So he didn't make a random pass mistake. That's what we've seen. He was getting outplayed as a defender.
He was getting
He was getting targeted and worked. And to see Miles Robinson back him the fuck up on multiple occasions was inspiring. And to see him get the goal off a set piece is also inspiring. Sergio Ramos comes to mind. Not obviously, he is not playing at the level of a vintage Sergio Ramos, but this is the kind of performance that Sergio Ramos would put together in a tournament where you kind of, he's there, he's doing well, and then in the final, he just has a monstrous game and carries the team on his back and scores with his head. Has to be in the conversation, does Miles Robinson. Absolutely ready for a transfer to Europe. Super down to see that happen. I think that transferring to Europe is important. But when we talk about the heroes of this tournament in particular, and there are a couple more I'm going to bring up, we are talking about MLS guys who came to this tournament and did what they do
and
showed us
too.
College guys who played in college. Think about that.
Which is weird. It's this totally separate track from everything that we have going on with the theoretical A team.
So anything else on Miles Robinson here before we move to some of these other superheroes?
I just look forward to seeing him face even stiffer tests.
Yeah.
Having seen him pass this.
Where do you rank him right now for you on your center back in the pool, center back pool?
Well, there's a big cluster next to John Brooks.
Yeah.
So, I mean, tomorrow, I think I'd go with him, over, I don't know, Miazga, Long, or Richards, young Richards. So, but I think it's tight. And I think it just proves that he's very much in the conversation. I think if the U.S. has a 23 to pick tomorrow, he's got to be on that 23, got to be in that group. And he can clearly... He doesn't necessarily do all of the things that Greg is asking for from the center backs, which I guess is one of the tricky things. He doesn't necessarily have that pass that Zimmerman has or Long has, or even Brooks. But maybe if he's playing with Brooks, it's a little bit mitigated. And he's just so solid. That's often really what we are lacking in big spots. It's just a rock.
Some solidity and the ability to get better when the stakes raise higher is special and rare.
Totally.
And he did that. He showed us that he has that. So if he can train up a little on his packing stats, if he can get those packing stats up, we are looking at a serious contender. Can he play right center back or no? What's his deal over there? Someone let us know. Sure. Reach out to us on Twitter, I guess. I don't really know. Yeah. I don't know a whole lot about his club career, but wow, we are talking about a serious contender. Another hero, very important superhero from this monumental victory, from this tournament, from this performance. It is Two Hands Turner. Ty, we're recording a video live, and Ty just put up his two hands.
Maddie, two hands.
It is Two Hands Turner.
He's got both.
The idea,
left and right.
idea that Zach Steffen was being challenged for the #1 spot was at first laughable 6 months ago. Laughable, of course. He plays for Man City. Laughable.
He plays
without injured.
For Man City.
He plays every once in a while for Man City when nothing better is going on. For Man City. And then he goes out injured in the final of the Nations League, and Ethan Horvath has himself a vintage USMNT moment. Beautiful. Back in the picture. There's some competition. We're happy now that Zach Steffen is getting pushed. And then, Matt Turner comes out from literal left field, from the actual left field of the outfield into the USA lineup. Okay? Even then, this is this guy's moment. He totally deserves it. He's going to get a gold cup. He's going to have that on his resume. That's a great memory for life. Beautiful. What an amazing story. Matt Turner, Two Hands. And then he comes in and has a tournament unlike anything we have seen between the sticks in a U.S. jersey since Tim Howard. A
That's what came
ridiculously
to mind.
a
That's what came to mind.
ridiculously locked down Gold Cup, which was he was very much under fire. Very, very much under fire from first whistle, very close to the first whistle of many of these games, to the last whistle. This guy held it TF down. Ty, we've been asked this on the YouTube
boy.
comments. Everyone's talking about it. Is Matt Turner the number one keeper for the US?
I don't want to overreact because you have to realize that the Gold Cup is a very top-heavy tournament. And the first 3 games that we had were more or less the friendlies leading into the tournament in a lot of ways. So I think it's very much a small sample size, but Matt Turner did absolutely nothing wrong. Similar to Robinson, just no moments where you have any doubt that he's got it. And I was almost disturbed by how little stress I felt
in that first half.
Mexico had possession near our goal, because I just thought it was inevitable that Turner would find a way to repel anything that came his way.
It's
so
insane.
I'm blown away. I wasn't expecting this, but I think we have a very tight competition between 3 great goalkeepers to be the number 1 for the US national team. And again, as of next week, if we were to play games, I think if the US is expecting to be under pressure, if we're playing a really, really strong opponent, I think I won Matt Turner. Because if we're able to play Berhalter ball, build up out of the back, all that great stuff, Zach Steffen is a perfect fit. But if what we are going to be doing is defending, trying to counter, trying to find a moment on a set piece like we did tonight to win a game, and we're going to be facing a lot of shots, I don't think there's any keeper. There may be not that many keepers around who are as good as Matt Turner at stopping shots. It's unreal.
It's ridiculous. The man's got the touch of a high school goalkeeper. So, his foot skills
agricultural
leave a lot to be desired, but his shot stopping is inspirational. I go back to the weird shoulder save. What team was that?
The shoulder
against?
save, that might have been game
2.
That was Jamaica, I think. Maybe
was that Jamaica? One of those.
That's right. That was the first minute chance that Jamaica had.
First minute chance. Everyone's gonna show his outstretched highlights and shit. But that goal that goal should have been, will remain in my memory as one of my favorite saves of all time. It is the strangest body shape, total creativity. What strikes me as a moment of genius, and an unsavable shot from 0 range, from 3 feet away from his face. He does a weird thing with his body, and it's over the post somehow. This guy is special. It's really cool. If only we could get Zach Steffen's feet. He's a weird dude.
He's not a normal MLS level goalkeeper.
No, there's something.
He's not Brad Guzan either.
No, he's not Brad Guzan. He doesn't look like a goalkeeper. He's just an abnormal. This is an abnormal situation. This is not something
it's a very abnormal situation. This whole thing is freaking me out. We've got good players who we weren't counting on being good, as opposed to having bad players who we were counting on being good.
Yes. Okay. All right. So
what's happening? What's this glut of success and talent?
Yeah, what do we do? So there's another aspect. I'm going to get back to another hero here in a second, but since you brought it up, there's another aspect to this that cannot go unspoken, which is that there are players we thought would never go beyond what we had seen. We thought we had seen everything we needed to see from Christian Roldan. We thought we had seen everything we needed to see from the big one is Kellen Acosta.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Giassi.
Well, Kellen Acosta. And we thought we had seen everything we needed to see from Giassi Zardes. So these three guys have all surpassed their level from 3 years ago to a degree that is currently having a serious impact on the player pool, which involves players like Josh Sargent, who went to Werder Bremen at 12 or whatever the fuck and waited until he turned 18 so he could work. What is happening, and how is it possible that Kellen Acosta, Giassi Zardes, and you could maybe leave Christian Roldan out of that conversation, but since I love Seattle, I'm keeping him in. How is it possible that these three guys have reached a level that we didn't expect, first of all, and such a high enough level that they will have a serious impact on the player pool?
Well, I think it's expected that of a certain generation, you have some who grow from that early 20s stage and exceed expectations, right? That's typical. What's not typical is that while that's happening, you have a whole other generation of players several years below that group who are hard to deny as they progress even faster than any generation has before. So what we've been undergoing the last decade or so has been a gap in the player pool where a lot of players like your Breck Shays, for instance, failed to progress in the way that you would normally hope that your players do, where they peak around 28, they just kind of get better until they're 28 or 29, and then there's a steady decline. And it just kind of didn't happen. Juan Agudelo as well, another great example. And so what we're experiencing is, first of all, that normal trajectory is happening where some of our players who we were really frustrated with earlier on in their careers, they have been progressing, doing well in MLS and continuing to start and all of that and having great careers. And that has made them better players. But we also have this parallel track of these young superstars at the same time. And that's an incredibly strong position because in the past, the US would have been reliant entirely on the Christian Roldans of the world to win World Cup qualifiers and play in World Cups and things like that. And now these guys can be on the fringes of the national team program, pushing that younger generation, helping that younger generation to get better, and raising the standard of the player pool as a whole. So we've kind of displaced that type of player with this new generation, but the fact that they're still around is going to be beneficial for everyone.
It is beneficial, and it cannot go without being said that the MLS has improved a lot year over year. Past couple of weeks, I've spent some time watching the MLS, as I tend to do a little bit each year, and it's happening. It has happened. The MLS is totally as dope to watch as these Bundesliga 2 games that are on, and almost as good as those Bundesliga 1 games. And it's happening.
One other odd thing about this game is that the players that Mexico was missing, they were missing Ochoa, who I think is a moderate upgrade over Talavera, but they were missing Vela and they were missing Chicharito, who are both MLS players. And I was thinking also watching Rodolfo Pizarro come in late in the game, that we're seeing MLS players be the pivotal players, the protagonistas, as it is said in Spanish, of the top level matches in CONCACAF. And that's unique. It used to be that if there were MLS players on the Mexican team, they were maybe on the fringes. And it used to be that the MLS Americans couldn't beat the Mexicans in Liga MX. So the balance of power shifting within the leagues, the relative success shifting around within the leagues is having a very substantial effect. And it's hard to see that being better for Mexico than it is for the US.
We shall see. It's almost like should we be talking more about Mexico and like the specifics of this game? There's another hero I want to bring up, and that is GGG, Greg Berhalter.
Hey,
Ty is on record as Greg has slowly, worked his way into my heart over not just this, but also how he handled the Nations League. But for me, I think Greg did a bunch of psilocybin during his COVID quarantine. He is a different dude. Something changed. Something clicked for him. And I have kind of been warming up for a while to the Greg train. Ty, you've stated that you will withhold your Greg take, your Greg judgment, your final Greg grade, the GGGG, when you see G4. Your G4 when you see the lineup of the first World Cup qualifier. Okay, I'm okay with that. Where are you at today? This man has successfully phased out a bunch of duds, Jackson Ewell being the key, the main one. He's made a lot of well-timed subs. He has put many young players in positions to succeed. The only one that didn't quite come off was DK. But all over the field, we are seeing the youngest and most interesting players that were brought on this roster, given real chances and flourishing in those real chances. How do you feel about Greg's performance at the moment? ATM.
I'm still conflicted because game one of this tournament, I'll just pick on Jackson Ewell a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Jackson Ewell clearly not international caliber. We've seen that in the friendly performances that he's had for the US. I think maybe he played in the Nations League semi a little bit. I forget. But basically, whenever we've seen him, it's been clear. He's good enough for MLS. He was pretty good for the U23s, not good enough for the national team, at least not right now. And yet, game one, Greg just trots him out. And that's the kind of stuff that just, it drives the fan base crazy. And I don't know if it's bad or good. But he went with a lineup that was the exact kind of opposite lineup that everyone was hoping for. And the US got through that game, to their credit, and went into the next game, and Greg changed it. And he found a lineup that he kept relatively consistent throughout the rest of the tournament. And so, I give him a lot of credit for seeing those things and making adjustments, but it is frustrating that he didn't see that in the prior 10 games that he had Jackson Ewell around. So I don't know what to make of that. I don't feel like I have an extreme amount of trust in Greg's roster decisions, but his adjustments have certainly been good. And we've seen that both in terms of changing between games and also changing within games. There were a number of moments within this tournament where he was able to, switch something up, switch up our shape or switch up the personnel. And those moves seem to generally be positive. But what I thought was the most exciting and interesting about Greg's performance in this tournament was his intensity, because the guy who gets up in the face of the fourth official during the last match, that's a very different guy than we saw when he was new to this job, when he was overwhelmed by the challenge of putting together 23 soccer players in one city to play a game. When he was remarking about how difficult it was to be a national team coach. It's like, well, I hope you're ready for that, because that's kind of table stakes for the job. There's a lot more you have to do on top of that. And so I feel like I saw a much more confident and much more comfortable Berhalter, and maybe some psilocybin was involved. I don't know. I'm not going to say it wasn't, but whatever happened, we have a better version of Greg. And I think the regardless of, what psychedelics he's on, COVID affected everyone and everything. And that long break, I think, to think about the way that he wanted this team to run, how much he wanted to insist on certain philosophies and what was like really important to him and how he wanted to approach things, I think that really helped.
It must have, the whole Tyler Adams right back, debacle seems far in our memory now. And a little COVID break can do that for you, where you realize, you know what, I'm going to do 4-3-3 most of the time. And I'm going to bring in, players who can play that system. There's a combined simplicity with a clarity of judgment, where he's making strong choices at important moments, and they are going well. Is a lot of people, so no one will ever question this roster again, aside perhaps from us, right? Because we wanted to have an A-team roster for the Gold Cup. Greg brought who Greg wanted to bring,
you know what?
And then he won the thing.
You got us on that one, Greg.
So was it wrong? For trying to reach the things that he can't see.
Dude, I don't know. I think you have to be a little bit circumspect, because let's say Matty Two Hands doesn't come up with that crazy save against Jamaica.
And we go out against Jamaica.
Sure. Or even in the first game, that Haiti game was not totally locked down, right? There were a lot of moments where Haiti might have turned the tide there. And the Qatar game, obviously, the penalty missed. So you have to consider the universe of possibilities that could have happened based on the decisions that Greg made, based on the decisions the Federation made. So it was certainly possible for us to have a disastrous tournament. We didn't, right? So you can't really, critique based on that ground. But I guess first and foremost, you just have to give credit to these players and this team, because I think not only did they outperform who they are, but they're better than we thought they were. And I think that is fair and deserved, that they get a little bit more credit for not being 2007 Christian Roldan anymore, but being, or 2017 Christian Roldan, but being
2007 Roldan was not even close.
He was
11. In diapers. Man, USA just defeated Mexico again. Ty, what's to come for us? We've got World Cup qualifiers on
this is just the beginning of the
calendar,
my friends.
They're on the calendar.
It's about to get really, really exciting in the next few months. So the next big competition for US soccer, for the USMNT, is World Cup qualifying, which is the most tense and wild ride. If you have not experienced it in the past, you are in for a treat. Traditionally, it's been 6 teams from CONCACAF, of which 3 teams go through to the World Cup. The 4th team goes to a playoff against a team from another confederation. I'm not sure which confederation that is this time. So 6 teams into 3 guaranteed spots and a playoff. Fairly easy to qualify. Somehow we managed not to qualify last time, so it wasn't that easy. But this time, CONCACAF has made it a little bit harder. They've added 2 more teams. So obviously that gives you 2 more, hopefully easy wins, but it also gives you more teams that could potentially surprise you. And it means that less of the field qualifies out of qualifying. And because there are more matches and there is less time because of COVID, the games are going to be played 3 per window rather than 2 per window. Ugh. So we're used to it being an international break where the weekend is off from professional matches, and the US would play on a Thursday and then play on a Tuesday. But because of this crazy schedule, it's going to be Wednesday, Saturday, Wednesday. and or so.
Or some,
And
some
that is
such
going
thing.
to be so exciting, because what is like hard about this is when you wait so long for the US to finally be able to play games, you just get to see them play too. You get to see like a little bit of progress. But it's going to be so amazing to see this much action so quickly.
And it's going to be A teams all the way. Everyone's off. No excuses. You bring your best team. Thank God we have some depth, because we're going to need it. If we're playing 3-game windows, plus the club season's going on, there's going to be injuries, there's going to be surprises. We're going to need it. This is a very special time, folks. Like I said, it's the time to get your friends involved. It's the time to get your friends involved. Who do we play first? We know that, right? That's on the schedule somewhere. Should we look that up?
So we start qualifying with a perfect set of matches to see what this US team is made of. And I'm not talking about the hardest matches that we're going to play in CONCACAF. I'm talking about the ones that can often trip us up. So we have El Salvador away. It's the first game. El Salvador had a great Gold Cup. They have this resurgence of players, including Alex Roldan of the Roldans.
You know them, you love them.
You know them, you love them. So it's going to be absolutely incredible to see how well the US can cope with the adversity of going to Central America, which has gone so wrong so many times in the past. Then we have Canada at home to renew the Canada rivalry, but it'll be the actual first choice Canada team, Alphonso Davies, Jonathan David, and all the rest. And then finally, there's another away match in Central America. I think it's Guatemala. So it's exactly the kinds of games that we have been fearing, because it's not necessarily, it's not even the big games at home that typically go wrong for the US. When the US gets into trouble, it'll be because of these away games. And we can break out our hope from virtually all of qualifying last time, which is that we hope that the team does not make excuses about losing to much, much worse teams because it's going away in CONCACAF.
Fuck that. Fuck that.
If there's
we
ever
have
been
now
a time
proved.
to say, fuck that, it's now. It's this team. This team is so good. The C team of this generation just won the Gold Cup over a much stronger Mexico team. So there is absolutely no excuse for the superior team to do well.
So Ty, let me ask you a question. We've got Canada on the up. We've got Jamaica's going to show up to ball because they're getting their shit together over there. We've got a couple new teams in the mix that weren't there before. Is it possible? I'm going to go ahead and just get ahead of myself gleefully. Is it possible that Mexico fails to qualify for the World Cup this cycle? Is there any chance? Is there any glorious chance that Mexico, after losing to us in 2 finals in a row, is there any way, please God, please, that they could fail to qualify, leading to every Mexican American in the universe pledging their allegiance to the flag, as they say?
Sorry, I'm just pausing because we have asshole racist spam bots to boot.
Got it. Noted in the edits.
Sorry, everybody. Thank you for bearing with us. Making sure I got everything. Okay. Cool. Cue that up again. Sorry.
So Canada's on the up and up. Jamaica is not your mama's Jamaica. And we've got two new teams in the mix. Is it possible? Is there any way? I'm gonna go ahead and just get ahead of myself for a second. Just let a boy dream. Is there any way that Mexico fails to qualify for the World Cup this cycle?
There's definitely a way. It happens to everybody, as we found in the last cycle. But for me, I really want Mexico to qualify. I want Mexico to barely qualify. I want them to go to that playoff and maybe have another playoff after that and have to travel all over the
Fire
world.
a bunch of coaches.
Fire a bunch of coaches. Absolutely. Absolutely. I want what's his face? Miguel Herrera. I want Miguel Herrera to be in charge at some point during this journey. So I want them to struggle and suffer, but I do want them to qualify because I got to tell you, I like watching Mexico play in World Cups. I enjoy watching Mexico when it has nothing to do with us, and when Mexico does well, that pushes us to do even better. So I hope they do, but you have to think that they're in a tough spot. They seem to have a little bit of the generation gap, maybe that we had in the last cycle, where the players who are in the middle there, your Pizarros, Pinedas, they're not quite reaching the level that the prior generation did, and there's still some time to go before the next generation is going to be ready.
I am with you in terms of enjoying, CONCACAF representation in general, and even Mexico in the World Cup. I do enjoy that, and I also, frankly, like, I live in America. Mexican culture is a vital part of my culture. Like, in order, you can't throw a stone on a pickup soccer field without coming across a bunch of Mexican immigrants. And I worked in I don't know, man, like it's a part of my everyday life is Mexican culture, which makes me Mexican to a degree. I'm not sure how Mexicans would feel about me saying that. I don't really know or claim to know, but I do feel an affiliation with Mexican,
yeah.
an affinity to Mexican culture, because it is such a real part of my life, right? So there is that. However, just this once, I would love for Mexico to not go, especially since we have.
You're just buttering them up.
Yeah, let's just give me one, because especially in part for the reasons that you're saying, this is not a classic Mexican team. This is, when Diego Lainez and Efra are leading the line and are peaking, maybe then I'll have a little bit more room in my heart for Mexico qualification. But if this is the chance, and just seeing some of these other CONCACAF nations that have never seen the light of day, Canada has the potential to become a real side, a classic side, which they've never had the opportunity to do before. And if I had to choose between Canada or Mexico going to this World Cup, I'm not talking about forever, every World Cup, just this time, I would choose Canada for sure. I want to see that. So,
what? Yeah, you do have to pick, because they all can't get in. And it would be pretty sweet if it was like US, Jamaica, Canada, and then Costa Rica in the playoff. Oh my god!
How sick would that be? How sick would I'll concede. I'll take US, Canada, Mexico, and then Jamaica.
Here's how it'll
finish.
It'll be US A team, US B team, US C team,
and Canada in the playoff. Okay, guys. Anything else on this? I mean, we relish this moment. It's so special. This summer.
I don't know what to do with myself.
Better than I could possibly have imagined.
Totally.
Daryl DK won 2 trophies off the bench. On the bench.
That's right.
Firmly butt cheeks on the bench.
DK
Jackson
and Ewell
doing this thing. They're like they're the Chris Richards of the Gold Cup right now with their Champions League wins.
But enjoy it. We spend, because we are US fans, it seems like we're always thinking about the future more than we are the present, because we have this sense that the US is a sleeping giant and eventually will take its place among the top soccer nations of the world and will fulfill its promise and potential as a soccer powerhouse. And so we're always somewhat feeling like it's a dress rehearsal, and I think in doing so, we can lose sight of the joy of a victory like this. So Kings of CONCACAF, undoubtedly, there's no asterisk on that. The team roster definitely made things much more complicated, but because they ended up winning despite that roster, it makes the success even less complicated. The success is so obvious. So I'm thrilled. I never expected this win to happen, and it's one we'll always remember because it was so far-fetched and unexpected on everyone's part.
This is the best summer that we have had since starting this podcast. In the entire life of this show, this is the dopest run of form that this team has ever been on. And I am so grateful to have shared that with you, Ty. And I am so, so grateful to have shared that with you, the listener. And if there are no further thoughts, I'd like to wrap us up. Any last thoughts here?
Let's wrap it up. I hate to let this tournament go.
I'll give you one more. I'll give you one more real quick. Which was less likely? The Nations League win in the final or the Gold Cup win in the final? Now, I'm not saying which is more important, because of course, Christian Pulisic and Weston McKennie with Tyler Adams in the stadium, taking the reins of this team and defeating Mexico for the first time in a long time and doing so in a final and getting their first trophy in the jersey is the most important thing in the history of this team that happened this summer. That is clear for me. Ty, which is the least likely? Which is the most remarkable? Let's say.
This is the most remarkable. I think the Nations League was the most important, because I think it was very, very important that our top group of young players have a success like that. And I think if that was a tough loss to Mexico, I think the program feels very, very different right now. But this is undoubtedly the most surprising. I mean, and the hardest, the harder victory to earn. And we should be clear also that these were both wins at home, and we know, against Mexico at home is not quite a home game, but we have yet to see how this generation A, B, or C team will do when faced with the pressures of being on the road, being in harsher circumstances. But I did not see this coming whatsoever, and you have to give the team a lot of credit for dramatically outperforming what anybody would have considered possible.
Toodaloo, motherfuckers. Hey, I love red things, especially tomatoes. Beautiful. Put them on so many things, turn into a great sauce. Love me some tomatoes, and they're red. I enjoy, things of the color white from time to time. This feels different now than I thought it would when I started. But almond milk, delicious. It is of the color white, and I enjoy that. I enjoy almond milk. I love blue things. My bedspread is blue. You can't see it because my awesome Ricardo Pepi background on the YouTube stream right now, but I keep it blue because blue represents and cues for the subliminal mind, creativity, and sort of a youthful comfort, peace for your child self. So blue is very, very nice. But I don't love any of that shit as much as for life, since life, done been, will do forever, love the Nats. Let's keep it going, boys. Insert here.
Insert here. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Thank you for being with us, YouTube.
Sorry about the racist spam bots.
Show. We do have a couple
questions. Ty, can you keep recording? Are you still recording?
I'm not still recording.
All right, it's fine. YouTube only content.
YouTube only content. I've got some questions, comments, thoughts. Who is your favorite MLS team and why?
I have a soft spot for the Seattle Sounders because Kevbot, because I lived in Seattle as some of my an amazing soccer culture. But at the end of the day, due to the fact that when I was growing up, the best players I knew were playing in the Red Bull Academy, and because Thierry Henry came and did like soccer events in the city and stuff like that, and I myself have been to some like Red Bulls sort of like summer clinics and stuff like that. It's Red Bulls for me. It's got to be.
All right. Yeah, I'm a Red Bull guy too. I live about 20 minutes from Harrison where they play. I've gone there more than I've gone to any other MLS stadium. I think I would be more of a fan if it wasn't named after a company.
Yeah, that's
like if it was still the Metro Stars, I think I may be more of a fan.
Yeah.
That kind of turns me off. Makes me feel like an idiot to say, let's go Red Bulls.
It's tough.
But the program, the cultural impact, the impact on the Nats, Thierry Henry, all that, super down. But where I find myself is I'm just a fan of MLS. I like to evangelize MLS to other people. I like to tell people how their team in their city is doing and who their good players are and make them go, oh, sure, I should check that out. That's pretty much what I'm all about. Could you see Matt Turner in Europe soon? Play-Doh.
Hell yeah, easily.
Yeah, we've been saying he should go to Europe, but he shouldn't go to Europe to go to a good team. He should go to Europe to go to the 13th best team in the Premier League.
Yeah, that would be perfect.
Your Watfords.
Yeah.
Well, we were saying Leeds. Leeds is pretty good, but Leeds is a team that gives up a lot of shots. Excellent. You want Matt Turner in situations where he can Matt Turner. A Canada sympathizer showed up and said that Canada got robbed in the semis and should have won the Gold Cup. What do you think would have happened if Canada did not get robbed in the semis and had faced the US in this final?
Honestly, I think that Mexico and Canada showed pretty equally throughout the tournament. I didn't watch that game in detail. Maybe there was a referee call that robbed Canada. Prior to the final, I would have said U.S. is likely to lose to either Canada or Mexico. And I did indeed say to my neighbor, it would hurt. Part of me wishes Canada did go to the final because losing to Canada is less painful for me than losing to Mexico. So prior to the game, I would have said, yeah, you're right. However, having seen the game, I don't know, dog. I don't know. It would have been cool to watch. I don't know. It's tight up there with U.S., Mexico, and Canada right now.
Yeah, ironically, I feel like maybe Canada would be just as good against the U.S. I don't know.
Well, I think Canada would be just as good, but
very different. Like the entire conversation and everything is so different if Orbelin Pineda puts away some chances and Mexico wins this 3-1 or something, So
absolutely, yeah,
very possible. After the Gold Cup, who would you change in the qualifying starting 11 that you would have had before the tournament?
Mm-hmm. We've talked about this. I don't think anyone aside from Matt Turner from this roster makes the starting 11 right now.
So I'm going to look up the Nations League.
Maybe Miles Robinson. Robinson and Matt Turner.
The Nations League final we presume was.
Keep talking. I have to pee so bad. I'll be back in 1 minute.
Okay. I'm just going to look this up while Clayton goes to pee. I'll share the screen as well. Thank you very much for being here. It means a lot. We love hanging out, love answering questions. Our formal recording is over. But if you have any questions or thoughts, please share. And I'm just sharing here the Nations League lineups. We'll see what Clayton thinks when he gets back. But I think Sargent is definitely in trouble here. He's got a lot of pressure. Has to have a really big season and do well for the US to keep his spot. I would certainly go for Robinson over McKenzie. And I can't believe Tim Ream started this game. That's stunning. So get him out for anybody. Get him out for anybody. I don't know if I want Acosta. Obviously, Adams, if healthier, would have started in ahead of Acosta. That's probably it. Maybe 3 guys from this team. All right. So I was just saying, from the Nations League 11, probably Sargent out for somebody.
Yeah, Zardes.
Definitely Ream's got to go. McKenzie for Robinson.
Yeah.
Acosta wouldn't have started if Adams was healthier. So it's certainly Adams in there.
Yeah, so Acosta is still, yeah. But yeah, I guess the one I'm forgetting is Sargent. That's who I forgot.
And who do you use? Because you really start Zardes in a qualifier?
Yes.
I wouldn't. Before this tournament, I would have considered that a fireable offense. I don't consider it a fireable offense anymore. I'll put it that way. He's a different guy than he was.
I don't remember who it was, but one of the guys on the Extra Time podcast made the excellent point that yes, in a qualifier tomorrow, or what is quickly actually becoming the real qualifier tomorrow, Zardes right now. That does not mean that Zardes starts at the end of the qualifying cycle or at the beginning of a potential World Cup.
Sure.
I think DK has all these guys have a year to become the guy. Josh Sargent just about scored a hat trick in the Bundesliga 2 just now. DK has every opportunity to get where he needs to go. And in all seriousness, Ricardo Pepi is the real deal. So
Pepi's good.
Yeah.
This Slinky Gaming said this was the US's toughest road to the World Cup, to the Gold Cup. Haiti, Canada, Jamaica, Qatar, Mexico, all good wins. That is very true. I think it was actually a sneaky tough group that it kind of worked out because Canada did really well as well, but it could have ended up being one of those like knockdown, drag out kind of groups, because Martinique pushed us a couple of years ago, and Haiti did really well. I think they made the semifinals of the last tournament. So yeah, definitely a lot of good wins in there. As far as CONCACAF tournaments go, especially chucking the Asian champions in there, a lot of good wins. So you gotta give the team a lot of credit for that.
I also think
that it's Honduras and not Guatemala. Thank you.
I also think we should consider Tim Weah for the 9 there, which is not a Gold Cup, which has nothing to do with the Gold Cup, but what are we doing out here not playing Tim Weah? It's ridiculous.
Yep. Everybody agrees that the Gold Cup was much less likely. This final, unbelievable.
So crazy. Kellen Acosta must feel like he's just like Mexico's kryptonite.
Well, so what's his record? I guess he's got 2 wins now. What before that?
Might have 2 losses before that.
Yeah, maybe that he hasn't played in the like high pressure ones though.
Yeah.
These were the first 2 high pressure ones in a while.
Since the previous Gold Cup final.
Since the previous Gold Cup final, which I don't think he was in.
I thought we said he was.
I think it was only Areola and Cannon were the 2 crossovers. I think he was still in the wilderness at that point. Well, I think it's time for bed.
Yeah.
I can't
I gotta
believe it's
Upload your
September.
audio.
I'll upload my audio. Thank you everyone for being here. Honestly, it means the world to us that you come hang out, chat, endure spam bots, saying horrible things, and be a part of this epic USMNT moment with us. So thank you very much.
Thank you guys. We
And
love
the
you.
podcast will be out shortly.
Shortly. It'll come out.
ASAP.